If you thought the GSA was bad, you have to see this. According to a new congressional report, the agency is not alone in wasting your money. You, the taxpayers, picked up the tab for at least 894 government conferences last year. Now, the total price tag, at least $340 million. Now, the agencies that held the most conventions were Departments of Defense, Health and Human Services, and Justice, and also the VA. House Oversight Committee Chair Issa joins us. Wow, I'm looking at these numbers. The VA had 127 conferences last year that cost $72.7 million.
They were a conference king, and even when talking to General Shinseki, the secretary, he said, look, I've got a cultural change I have to make, and somewhat defended it. But it's worse than what it appears. We asked for reporting over $100,000. It's a $15 billion expenditure. We're looking
if
literally...
If you consider that. So this
we're looking
is
at the tip,
right,
just the big conferences.
So if you had only a $99,000 conference, it's not going to be reflected here.
Exactly. If you broke your conference into $99,000 or less, you're not reported. And we did this because these are the ones that were worth looking at. But I'll give you an example of one of the most egregious, and it wasn't necessarily the largest, about $150,000. It was done by the Office of Personnel Management. We understand those are the people that oversee people in the government. They're supposed to make the rules for government, / the IG. It was the Inspector General of that organization that had not one but two conferences over $100,000, and one of them, out of $150,000 in expenses, $53,000 spent here in D.C. was for an event planner.
$53,000 for an event planner in D.C.
To find out how to do it.
Don't they even have staffers that can call up and order this stuff?
From a hotel here in the district area.
I mean, I could be sarcastic, say, haven't they ever heard of Skype or whatever? But I mean, the Department of Justice had 107 conferences in which they spent over $100,000. And they spent $58.7 million. Now, what were they doing at these conferences? I haven't been to any conferences, I guess.
A lot of them are essentially sessions to make people feel good. We looked at some of the things the money was spent on. In some cases, it was spent, just like the GSA, sort of on motivational activity and so on. And so you looked and said, wait a second, they call it team building and the like. One of the problems is if you do this locally and you use your own facility and you pay for, brown bag lunches, you can do this for a few hundred or a couple $1,000s. As soon as you start getting a hotel and rooms and an event planner,
flying everybody there,
and flying people around, you find $15 billion, and maybe we couldn't cut it all, but we certainly could cut many billions of dollars out of that budget. And this is the kind of thing that would cause you not to have to lay off people that are needed to do real jobs.
I don't know why we don't just have a moratorium on conferences while we don't have any money. I mean, frankly, what's wrong with the telephone? Can't we all pick up? Why don't we everybody get on a conference call or everyone get on Skype or something? I mean, they really don't have to have this team building and how to feel good. I mean, if they don't feel good, maybe they should find another occupation or something. I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's like something's just not right when the American taxpayers are paying for this. And I assume that these are in cities like Vegas.
There's some urban cities like Vegas. Some of the worst offenders, though, are D.C. employees going to hotels in D.C. for conferences or nearby. There was one in Richmond. They were D.C. people. They went down to Richmond for
What is 90
retreat.
miles? I mean, not going to commute that one.
Well, yes, but the whole point was they went there.
Why didn't they just stay in D.C.?
Why didn't they just stay in the Beltway area? There are plenty of hotels. One of the challenges we're facing is this is the tip of the iceberg. We've looked at hearings where we've got $81 billion worth of IT, at least $20 billion of it, to programs that we start and they dead end. And yes, there are conferences talking about those programs that don't succeed. We can fix government, but we're not going to fix government by people complaining that any cut somehow is unfair when these are so obvious.
Well, these are government employees who seem to have a blank check of taxpayer money with no one within their agency saying, do we really need this at all?
In some cases,
and I should say, these people don't get pink slipped for their work. They don't get laid off. I mean, they've got pretty secure jobs.
These are good jobs. And again, we know we don't have enough money to pay for everything, but if the watchdogs at OPM are part of the problem, we've got to find a better solution.
Congressman, thanks, sir.
Thank you.